I'm Christopher German for KCTV News for Tuesday, November 11th, 2025. Happy Veterans Day, one and all, and for those who have served, thank you for your service. And for tonight's broadcast, the stories we're following for you. Governor Tina Kotek has signed the controversial transportation funding bill, triggering the start of a Republican-led effort to push for a voter referendum to overturn the new taxes and fees. And the Senate passed legislation late Monday night to take a procedural step toward ending the nation's longest government shutdown, a vote that signals a critical break in the gridlock that has shuttered government agencies for 41 days. Now, make sure you tune in every morning for weather from the Skywatch Weather Center with weather from the Klamath Basin for the Klamath Basin. And tonight's news is brought to you by...
The season of giving and winning is here at Klamath Casino. Join us for Gobbler's Gold drawings and win up to $750 cash. Earn kitchen favorites on our Sunday Delights kiosk. Reap your rewards on Thursday with Harvest Time hot seats for up to $250 cash. Take home up to $500 cash in our Harvest Celebration slot tournaments. Plus on Veterans Day, all active and retired military receive $20 free play. Our way of saying thank you. Klamath Casino, where winning comes naturally.
Our top story, Governor Tina Kotek has signed the controversial transportation funding bill, triggering the start of the Republican-led effort to push for a voter referendum to overturn the new taxes and fees. The governor's strategic delay in signing the measure, which she did near the November 12th deadline, was viewed by opponents as a tactic to reduce the 90-day window they have to collect roughly 78,000 required signatures. The Republicans under the No Tax Oregon campaign are specifically targeting the bill's major funding components, including the 6-cent gas tax increase, a hike in vehicle registration and title fees, and the temporary doubling of the statewide transit payroll tax. The successful referendum effort would suspend the new taxes until voters can weigh in during the November 2026 election, potentially recreating a major budget shortfall for the Oregon Department of Transportation, and risking layoffs. Meanwhile, the protracted federal government shutdown continues to affect Oregonians relying on aid following the Supreme Court's emergency order that blocked the full Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP benefits, food aid payments. Governor Kotek declared a 60-day food security emergency. She directed $5 million in state carryover funds from the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program in the Oregon Food Bank Network to help cover the gap for more than 750,000 residents whose benefits were threatened. After a subsequent federal court order temporarily requiring the administration to release the full funds, Oregon quickly distributed the full November benefits payments. When the federal administration appealed and demanded states undo the full payments, Governor Kotek publicly refused, calling the demand unlawful and immoral and assuring recipients that the funds already on their Oregon Trail cards would remain accessible. The state's attorney general is now engaged in legal action to ensure those full benefits are not clawed back. In Washington, D.C., the Oregon's 2 U.S. senators, both Democrats, rejected a compromise deal to reopen the government. A legislative package to end the shutdown was ultimately advanced in the Senate with the support of a small group of Democrats. And most Republicans, but both Oregon senators, voted no. Senator Jeff Merkley and Senator Ron Wyden opposed the measure because it failed to include a guaranteed extension of expiring Affordable Care Act tax credits, which they insisted were critical to protecting affordable health care for millions of Americans. The Senators continued to blame the ongoing shutdown and its effects, including the food aid crisis, on the Trump administration's refusal to negotiate and utilize available emergency funding. And in related news, and as predicted, Governor Tina Kotek officially signed the state's significant transportation bill, House Bill 3991, into law on Friday, triggering the start of a referendum campaign by opponents aiming to overturn the new taxes and fees. The new law, which passed the Oregon legislature in a special session in late September, enacts fee and tax increases intended to provide billions for road maintenance and to prevent layoffs at the Oregon Department of Transportation. The signing of the bill immediately set in motion the effort to block its implementation. By waiting until almost the last day of her 30 working day window, which expires on November 12th, Governor Kotek minimized the time Republican opponents have to gather signatures. The chief petitioners, State Rep. Ed Deal from Staten and Senator Bruce Starr from Dundee, and Taxpayer Association of Oregon Director Jason Williams filed paperwork with the Oregon Secretary of State on Monday morning to launch the No Tax Oregon referendum. The petitioners have 90 calendar days from the legislature's adjournment to collect the required number of signatures. This sets the final submission deadline for December 30th. They must gather 78,116 valid signatures, a figure equal to 4% of the total ballots cast in the last gubernatorial election, to qualify for the measure. Petitioners are awaiting final approval of their forms from the Secretary of State before they can officially begin circulating petitions. Representative Deal expressed optimism, telling the Capitol Chronicle, "We feel pretty confident that by the end of this week, we will be good to go." If the campaign is successful, the tax and fee increases in the new law will be suspended, and Oregon voters will decide whether to approve or reject the legislation on the November 2026 general election ballot. And the Senate passed legislation late Monday night to take a procedural step towards ending the nation's longest government shutdown, a vote that signaled a critical break in the gridlock that had shuttered the government agencies for 41 days. The key 60-40 vote met the threshold needed to advance the spending package. This breakthrough was achieved after a group of Democrats broke ranks with their party leadership and joined Republicans in backing the measure. The spending package notably omitted the chief concession their party had spent weeks demanding, which was an extension of Affordable Care Act subsidies. The shutdown had caused significant disruption across the country, leaving hundreds of thousands of federal workers furloughed or working without a paycheck. The impasse had also put millions of Americans at risk of losing essential services like food assistance and led to millions more facing air travel disruptions due to staff shortages and high sick leave rates among unpaid air traffic controllers. The procedural vote is set the stage for the full legislative package to pass the officially reopen the government later in the week. And Shasta Acupuncture, a long-standing provider of holistic wellness in the Klamath Basin since 2007, has recently entered an exciting new chapter. Leanne Zhu, a dedicated and longtime Klamath Falls practitioner, has taken the reins as the business's new owner, succeeding founders Greg and his wife Enos. Zhu's deep passion for healing and community service made the transition a natural fit for the established clinic. "I'm excited to have the privilege to better serve our community with my skill set and experience," Zhu stated. "I want to make acupuncture a better-known treatment and therapy for our local residents." The business, which is located at 4220 Shasta Way, is a serene space housing 5 comfortable examination rooms decorated with soothing wall images and acupuncture beds. Beyond traditional acupuncture, the clinic also offers medicinal herbs and nutritional supplements to aid in quicker healing and promote balance. Originally from mainland China, Zhu brings extensive experience to the practice. She holds an MD in China from Shandong University of Traditional Chinese Medicine and is nationally board certified and licensed to practice acupuncture in both Florida and Oregon. After relocating to Klamath Falls with her husband, a professor at Oregon Institute of Technology, she practiced at Shasta Acupuncture for 4 years before purchasing the business. To navigate the complexities of acquiring the existing enterprise, Zhu sought guidance from the Klamath Community College's Small Business Development Center at 803 Main Street. She worked closely with SBDC business advisor Courtney Talbot to understand the acquisition process, receiving tailored resources and step-by-step direction. Courtney helped me to understand the framework of the small business purchasing process, Zhu noted. She provided me with step-by-step guidance and the necessary resources and recommendations to navigate through the initial uncertainties. The SBDC also provided support to the former owner, ensuring a smooth and informed handoff. Though Zhu did not attend formal training, the expert advising on financial analysis and business planning proved invaluable. It's still in the transition process, Zhu said, but it has been doing well so far. She credits the SBDC for helping her move forward with confidence and clarity, and highly recommended the SBDC to other entrepreneurs. Acupuncture is an ancient healing art and part of traditional Chinese medical practice for over 2,500 years. It is widely accepted in the U.S. as a method to curb pain and promote healing. As a former medical doctor and ear, nose, and throat specialist nationally certified in China, Zhu emphasizes that the practice encourages the body to rebalance itself. We can do a full workup on someone who is in pain and find where we can help the most, be it acupuncture or a mixture of prescribed herbs that can help, she explained. The clinic serves the wider Klamath Basin, including Klamath Falls, Lakeview, Christmas Valley, and Northern California, treating patients from age 3 and older for conditions such as chronic pain, injury, arthritis, migraines, digestion problems, hormonal imbalances, infertility, insomnia, allergies, and issues related to stress, anxiety, and depression. Acupuncture works by tapping into the body's various energy channels, often within the muscle tissues, and to restore harmony. Shasta Acupuncture also provides a full range of herbal and nutritional supplements, and Zhu is able to mix specific herbal medicines for various illnesses. The clinic is open Tuesday through Friday from 8:15 a.m. to 5 p.m. and accepts a full range of insurance providers. The clinic can be reached at 541-884-1952 or shastaacupuncture.com. For more information on KCC programs, visit the klamathcc.edu. The Oregon SBDC network is funded through a part of cooperative agreement with the U.S. Small Business Administration, contributing $743,000 in federal tax dollars, or 12% of its funding. The Oregon Business Development Department, Oregon's community colleges, and other public and private partners provide $5,500,000 or 88% of the program's funding. The SBDC services are extended to the public on a non-discriminatory basis, with language services available for individuals with limited English proficiency. And Oregon's land use laws have historically set it apart, making it housing a core element of state policy for over 50 years. However, in the last decade, the legislature has intensely focused on addressing a severe housing shortfall, fundamentally reshaping the regulatory landscape. The guiding philosophy now is that housing development must be governed by clear and objective standards, and that the process must not create unreasonable cost or delay. This new system provides special statutory treatment for housing, including incentives for low and moderate income housing units, the easing of rules for urban growth boundaries amendments, and strict decisional timelines. Unlawful housing denials or unsuccessful challenges by opponents can now result in attorney fee sanctions. A major component of the reform is the mandate for density increases across urban areas. Smaller cities must now allow accessory dwellings, duplexes, and single-room occupancies in all single-family zones, while larger cities must also permit triplexes, quadplexes, townhouses, and cottage clusters. Local governments that fail to update their zoning to permit this middle housing face state sanctions, including the imposition of state model code. To ensure housing needs are met systematically, and the legislature authorized the Oregon Housing Needs Analysis, which assesses statewide needs, allocates them to local jurisdictions, and sets specific housing targets. Overseeing this process is the newly established Housing Accountability and Production Office, HAPO office. This HAPO assists with developers and local governments, process complaints about non-compliance, and is armed with enforcement tools to ensure local governments permit development as required by law. The planning process is now data-driven and mandatory. The cities are now required to prepare a housing capacity analysis to certify that they have enough land to meet projected housing needs for a 20-year period. Any capacity shortfall must be rectified by amending the UGB, increasing housing development with the existing boundary or a combination of both. Furthermore, cities with populations over 10,000 must adopt a housing production strategy within a year of their HCA, outlining specific actions from regulatory changes to financial incentives to encourage the creation of the necessary housing types. Enforcement is institutionalized through the Housing Acceleration Program. If a local government is underperforming on its production targets, it may face a state audit. If a deficit is confirmed, the state and the local government must enter into an agreement for corrective action, backed by state financial aid and technical support. Failure to comply with this agreement allows the state to issue an enforcement order imposing a developer's remedy in the form of state model code and ministerial review process that completely supersedes local land use regulations until compliance is achieved. Beyond mandates, the state encourages production by providing a list of approved tools ranging from regulatory amendments to financial incentives and tax exemptions. Financial support, while currently modest, is to offer through infrastructure loan programs and density bonuses for units bound by long-term covenants for lower-income residents. The overall drive is to lower housing costs, reduce local discretion over matters like design, and steer housing decisions towards streamlined templates with fewer public hearings. Oregon's strategy is a bold combination of funding incentives and state-mandated local approval, making more housing construction possible. However, the success of these deregulation efforts remains vulnerable to market forces such as rising interest rates, high construction material costs, and labor shortages, proving that even a state can't fully command the economic tides. Nonetheless, these efforts are significant and serve as a pioneering model for other states seeking to dismantle local zoning barriers to housing. Now let's take a break and stop into the Skywatch Weather Center, shall we? Expect skies to transition from partly to mostly cloudy across the region, with increased fog and low clouds developing in west side valleys overnight. The east side will experience breezy conditions. Morning lows will be chilly in the basin, dropping into the 30s. Looking ahead to Wednesday, increasing clouds and strengthening southerly winds will precede the arrival of our next storm system. While the day will remain mild and largely dry, showers are anticipated to move into the region late in the day and into the evening, particularly along the coast. Overnight, moderate to heavy rain is expected to push across the region. A high wind watch has been issued for Shasta Valley, effective 10 a.m. Wednesday to 1 a.m. Thursday. Additionally, Lake County and eastern Klamath County are under high wind watches from 7 p.m. Wednesday to 10 a.m. Thursday. Snow levels with this system will begin around 8,000 feet on Wednesday evening, gradually lowering down to 4,500 feet by Thursday afternoon, and then to 4,000 feet by Friday morning. Thursday promises to be a cloudy, cool, and wet day with widespread rain and lowering snow levels. In addition to rain and mountain snow, significant gusty winds are expected across the region. Friday will bring more rain and higher elevation snow as another storm system impacts the area, with snow levels rising through the day and into Saturday. Active and wet weather is forecast to continue into the upcoming weekend, with further storm systems requiring close monitoring in the days ahead. Well, that's it. Stick a fork in us. We're done for today. Tune in, get your views counted only at KCTV, and make sure you hit that subscribe button to KCTV on your favorite platforms. And make sure you log on to klamathcommunity.tv for the latest news, weather, sports, lifestyle news, including these daily stories posted. And you'll find exclusively on the KCTV news page. So for KCTV News, I'm Christopher German. It's Tuesday. You made it through to the beginning of the work week. We're going to get wet tomorrow, and it's going to continue through to the weekend. But we're still going to keep our smiles on our faces and do everything that we can to be as positive as we can possibly be. I'm sure of it. And as far as events going on, I don't know of a lot of things happening. We're kind of winding things down for the year, I think, and it's slowing down a little bit. We will have a bevy of activities once we get into past Thanksgiving and into Christmas time, and there's going to be parades and all kinds of gift-giving opportunities and all kinds of fun things, and we'll be your source for all that information, I'm sure of that. But for the interim period, right now, it's just a quiet November afternoon, and thank you for watching, and thank you for participating, and thank you for doing what you do to keep this station on air and keep it happening. As I said, I'm Christopher German and the KCTV Newsroom, and we will do our darndest to make sure that we give you the best and most up-to-date headlines at all times, especially over at klamathcommunity.tv, our website. That is a true powerhouse of information. If you're looking for stories, we are constantly updating that website. We're constantly updating the information on that website, and we're trying to provide you with the most up-to-date information from the Klamath Basin and the world at large. So if you need something, if you want to pay attention to anything, pay attention to that website. And then tune into this channel and watch the news and the weather here too as well. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the station. Thank you for doing what you do. And we will see you guys again on Wednesday. I'm Christopher German. Good night.